Okay, we are recording. Hello, people of the future. This is a pre record. As you can tell, it's daylight, which means it is not the evening. And yeah, we are here to discuss Christian video games. I am your host, Donnie Cho of Donnie Cho Says Stuff. And tonight we have a very special guest, a guest who has been away for a number of months on hiatus, away from the YouTube cryptid paranormal talk show world. He's been away.
I
And
have.
that is my esteemed colleague, my guest tonight, Jason McLean. So, Jason, first
Yes,
things
Donald.
first, what have you been doing with yourself these past few months? And why have you decided to step away? And why come back now?
Stuff, and because I wanted to.
Because you wanted to.
Okay, so the 3 month thing was I just wanted a break, right? Because
Yeah.
I just have a lot going on.
Your time was highly demanded.
It was, yeah. Not, I won't go into too many details, but there are graduations, multiple wedding, actually multiple weddings, um, and just I needed a break from having to be somewhere, all the time.
Mm.
So yeah, just a lot of stuff. And so I said, you know what? I want a 3 month hiatus from doing this, right? And I thought maybe it would help. And the reason I did a full 3 months was I thought, just a good cleanse kind of a thing. But Tech said, he said there was no way that I would stay away for 3 full months, and he bet me a steak dinner on it. And yeah, what he failed to understand is I will do anything for free food.
So, you won.
I won. Yes, I did. I
So,
won.
have you decided on the time and place yet? Or is that
Oh,
still in the
that
works?
was pre-done. Like we knew because we're going to Jefferson this year.
Okay.
There is a steak place in Jefferson that is amazing. So that was never in doubt. We knew as soon as we
Mm.
made that bet where it was going to be, when it was going to be. So it's going to be October. It's going to be at that steak place, and it is amazing.
What makes their steak so special?
I don't know. The guy's just
Mm.
that good. Like it's a I
Mm.
forget the name of the restaurant. It's like 1864 or something. Um, but it's in like an old, like they redid the old hotel that was there, right?
Mm.
So you walk in, it's like going into a bar or saloon from the 1800s, just more modernized, right? And dude, the first time we ate there was, it's really good. They know how to cook their steak. It was very, very well done, and not well done, but it was well prepared. And so there was no doubt when and where this was going to be paid out. That was not in question. So now he's got to
Before
do it.
we move on, I do have to ask, when you do order a steak
Mhm.
at a place like that, what is your usual choice of sides?
Oh, sides. I thought you were going to ask how I wanted it cooked. Um, it depends on what they have, right? Because
Mm.
every steak place is a little different, right? I'm a big fan of broccoli and or asparagus.
Yeah, me too. Me
Love
too. Yeah.
asparagus, but again, you can't go wrong with a twice baked potato if that's available. Um, I'm a huge fan of potatoes au gratin, but I never see them.
Okay. Hmm.
Like I just love potatoes au gratin, and you don't find them anymore. I don't know what's going on. Like why people walked away from au gratin potatoes, but they did. But yeah, I'm a big fan of broccoli and or asparagus.
Yeah, me too. That's usually my go-to. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was just kind of curious.
And
And of
yes, medium
course,
rare. That's how you
yeah,
that's how you cook a steak.
and drown that shit in A1 steak sauce, baby.
So I actually threatened text. I'm like, I'm gonna find the thickest, juiciest filet mignon and have it done well and have it well done, cooked well done, and then pour some ketchup on that and eat it in front of them.
Now, let me ask you this. Yeah, I remember that conversation. I
Uh
saw
huh.
that, and Tex was like, "I will kick your ass." But
Hmm.
then, but then I was like, "But have you ever even tried well done with ketchup?" I've never even tried it. Who knows? It might be delicious.
Okay, so I know this has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the subject, but I will say this, and I think it is a personal pet peeve of mine because a I will say beef well done is good. Like if you again, that's one of those things where that is a valid way of preparing certain forms of steak, right? The problem is not every cut works out that way, but there are some cuts that are better as a well done cut. Well cooked, well done, use sauce. That's perfectly valid. The problem is we've gotten so how do I say this? You know what? It's a virtue signal. It's what it is. We've gotten so there are a lot of shibboleths in life. Like growing up, again, I'm a Texan. I grew up with guns. Nobody, and I mean nobody 20 years ago, 30 years ago, in the 80s, which is 40 years ago, nobody cared about whether or not you called it a magazine or a clip. The two terms, everyone understood the terms were not interchangeable, but they were used interchangeably. Now, if you call a magazine a clip, they throw you out if you do not use the appropriate language. I don't mean that literally, but what I mean is you're seen as you're othered because it's like you don't really know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is a lot of it is actually because of the anti-gun culture that evolved. The pro-gun culture started creating its own shibboleths as a way of knowing whose side you're on, right? Like if you use the term assault rifle, there's some people who just look at you like, okay, then your opinion is invalid. And by the way, if you use the term assault rifle, your opinion is invalid because it's not a real thing. That's just how because it's not. It is a it was a political term, and so when you hear assault rifle, you realize, oh, this is someone who has a very specific political opinion, and it's not really based on reality. They're already showing you who they are. And so the reaction to assault rifle, because again, assault rifle would have been okay to use 20 years ago, but you would have
I thought there was an actual technical definition for the term assault rifle. It was supposed to be medium range.
No.
As opposed to a battle rifle.
Nope. So, okay. So in video games, yes, that's a thing.
But I thought in military, like.
No. There is no such thing as an assault style weapon or an assault weapon. It doesn't exist. There's semi-automatic. There's fully automatic. But it's not about assault. Like people say, well, AR-15 means assault rifle. It does not. It means Armalite. It means Armalite rifle. But that's the whole point. A lot of these things became shibboleths. Steak became a shibboleth. It's, it's like chili. Do beans belong in chili? Well, if it's a Texas red chili, no, it does not, because it's no longer that you can put beans in it, but now it's chili with beans, right? But a Texas red chili does not have beans in it. That's how that works. People get into fights over this. But I put beans in my chili because guess what? Chili has beans in it, always has, because it's a poor man's food. That's what it is, right? But it's like, well, Texas chili. Well, yeah, a Texas red chili does not have beans in it. That's it. Okay, like that's fair. But people put a lot of things where it's like, no, this sort of identifies you as this thing, right? Steak, like, well, I can never have a steak. Anyone who cooks a steak more than medium rare is evil or whatever. And it's like, stop. That is it's not just a virtue signal, it's a sign of wealth. The reason steaks were cooked well done, even cuts that would be considered good, and they would use sauces, is because refrigeration didn't used to be a thing. And again, poor people don't get good cuts of meat. And if you don't get a good cut of meat, you know what you don't want to do? Cook it medium rare.
Yeah.
You don't want to, you want that to be well done, and then you can throw sauce on it. So again, a lot of that does come down to it's virtue signaling, but then it's also it is a
meat
way
snobs.
of showing wealth. Yes, meat you become snobs. A snob.
Yeah, meat snobs.
It's like stop. Like if you want to say you like your meat medium rare, which I do, great, that's cool. But understand there are some things that are actually better cooked, well done. Now again, those are the cheaper cuts of steak, and that's the whole point. They're cheap. They aren't good. And if that meat's a little old, cooking it well done makes it perfectly valid. you know.
Do you like a nice tartare?
Oh, if it's good cut of meat, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I like a
Flame
good tartare.
kissed, yeah, flame kissed is perfect.
No, that's not how we Koreans do tartare.
No, you don't.
No, we don't do it like that. Flame, get the flame out of here. No,
Yeah,
it comes out cold.
I know.
You take a raw egg, break it over it, put in some chives, mix that shit up with some raw ground beef, and then you take a spoon and you just fucking chow down.
See, I could. Well, okay. So here's the deal: if it's a steak that has, because again, people forget hamburger. It used to be hamburger steak. It was steak
Yeah.
that was prepared that way. I could not do ground chuck tartar because that's a bad idea. But I get what you're saying. If it's been prepared that way, I could do that. I like a good steak tartar, but yeah, I do like a little bit of heat though thrown on there, like a little flame
Yeah,
kiss.
I don't do it all the time. I
Yeah.
also get mine medium rare. Anyway, not speaking of medium rare, let's talk about Christianity and video
Yes.
games. So,
Yes.
Jason, as a self-professed man of God, Christian, someone who tries his best to be a good representative, a representation of the Christian worldview in the greater paranormal and cryptid communities, right? As a man who's very proud of his Christian faith. Tell me about some of your experiences or your thoughts on the way Christianity has been represented in a lot of our pop culture, and especially with regards to video games.
So the obvious go-to is the negative stereotypes that are
Mm-hmm.
used, and again, a lot of that is propaganda, by and
Okay.
large, which is why it was created, right? That's why it's there. It's designed to be anti-Christian propaganda.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the easy go-to. But I think the other really easy go-to is when Christians do it, and it's terrible. And the problem is they they both exist for the same reason, right? The anti-Christian propaganda exists because it's propaganda. Now the problem is it's usually snuck into another story,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not the whole of it, because when it's the whole of it, everyone just kind of looks and says, well, that's crap. But usually when it's like a side thing, right? It isn't the main point of the story, it's just thrown in there. But with the problem is when Christians get into pop culture, up until relatively recently, well, again, anything from like the 30s on, and we'll come back to that as to why I put that demarcation there. Maybe post World War II, is that the problem is it's still trying to be propaganda,
Right.
and that's the problem. Propaganda is always boring. It has to be, because it's not about story or plot or larger themes. It's about telling you what the politics is. It's about telling you what the ideology is and how you're supposed to follow that ideology. It isn't about entertaining. It's not about broader themes, which is again why, and as we've talked about before, why all these new woke shows fail, because they too are just propaganda,
Right.
right? And they're not talking about larger themes or ideology. You know, it's about an ideology that they're trying to push. Well, that's again why Christianity, when it's created entertainment up until relatively recently, has been usually so bad, is because it's been essentially just propaganda.
Like the Left Behind series.
Yes, so bad. And again, that is not to say that they are ill-meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are well-meaning people. They're trying to do good. The problem is they they don't know. They haven't always done it the way it's supposed the way it's supposed to be done. Like I said, post World War II, post 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
Look at, all you have to do is, the bulk of Western history, not human, but Western history, is full of amazing Christian material that shaped cultures, right? I mean, a lot of entertainment was Christian. Faust. You think the play Faust isn't Christian, right? Um, Wagner, who again, kind of had some issues, but Wagner was hugely popular for over 100 years because it was
Mm.
good entertainment. Uh, uh, Obviously, everyone points to C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, but there's others, right? Those are a little more recent. But there's all kinds of Christian literature and artwork that has inspired and created. Pilgrim's Progress, right? People still read that for fun. It's good. It's well done. You don't have to be boring to be good. The problem is we've sort of lost. What happened was the Christianity sort of gave up the culture fight definitely after World War II, and a lot of people were like, why? They have long lamented Christianity's avoidance of the television and movies when they came on the scene. They were seen as like, we don't want to be a part of that, and so
Well, I mean, they got Christian channels, but they're usually just sermons and
now
yeah.
Again, when these things first came along, they were eschewed by. It wasn't until the 70s that stuff started coming in. It was actually Charismatics who first started to play with those ideas in the 70s. And you could argue the Charismatics during the Big Tent revival got back onto the radio. They started getting into radio a lot more because they saw the success of other smaller groups. I forgot her name. She was out of California. That's an entirely different conversation. I forget her name, but she was like one of the first. She was leading a cult. I don't care. Anyone's like, oh no, she was a Christian. That was a freaking cult, straight up. But she did her stuff over the radio, and people, started following. So it was like she kind of kicked that off. And so a lot of people saw the value of the radio, but like radio shows and sermons and things like that, and talking to people. But then they still kind of stayed away from television and movies until, again, about like the late 60s, early 70s, they started realizing, oh, we can do stuff, right? And then you started getting stuff like Davy and Goliath, right, with those little claymation things, and people started trying to do it. People who had grown up with the television and movie technology. That's kind of what happened. Was they grew up with that. And they're like, well, why should we stay away from this, right? And so the problem is, though, we could equate this to my complaint about 90s and post 90s comic book work, right? Prior to the first couple generations of comic book artists, they fell into it, right? They weren't like, I want to be a comic book artist. It was like, that's just what there was for them because they needed to make money. They were artists and they were looking for a job. So they had bigger, better skills. Doesn't mean that they didn't care about it, right? But they were artists. They were trying to do something else, but that's where the paycheck was, and so they went and they did that, and they enjoyed it, and they pushed the artwork forward. And once you get into the 70s, you get a lot of artists like your Neil Adams and Gil Kane who wanted to be in comics, but they still did a traditional art education. By the time you get into the 90s, your Jim Lees, your LaFields, and all that, your McFarlanes, these were people who always wanted to be in comics, and they studied comics. They weren't necessarily looking for the higher arts. It doesn't mean they didn't, but it started to become a little too incestuous, right? As far as their inspirations. And so you can start seeing when it becomes it's too comic booky, right?
Yeah.
Everything becomes overly derivative. In the same way, that's kind of what happened with Christian films and stuff. Is they didn't have the understanding of the broader art form. They didn't see it as an art form. They saw it as, well, I want to honor God through film because I like movies, but they didn't learn and understand some of the deeper art form of it. So it ends up being just propaganda, which is why it was just so terrible, just so awful, forever.
Yeah, and Christianity has done, and sometimes successfully, break its way into pop culture. Some successful movies, some successful book series as well. I
Yeah.
mean, they have like Christian literature's entire section over at Barnes and Noble now, like just
Yeah.
young teens, like young readers, Christian
Mhm.
literature. Yo, you know what I've been seeing lately? Actually,
Mm.
like they got this whole like if you go into Christian literature section, they got like
Yeah.
all this Amish stuff, like Amish like
Yeah.
romance stuff, and I'm like, damn, it's like a whole
Mhm.
series. It's like a genre.
It is. So
It's weird. What's up with that?
one of the things that broke out, my wife got in, not Amish per se, but there was this huge move. There's one by the name of Karen Kingsbury, and she's one of the few, or like this, she started decades ago. She really, and some others broke out by saying, okay, well, hold on, we're looking at this wrong. And so what she was doing romance novels, but like historical romance novels
Mm-hmm.
from a Christian perspective, or even the perspective of like doing Christian characters. And so it was not. So again, it stopped being about the propaganda and started being about the character and about the story.
Hmm.
These were romance novels from a Christian worldview and a Christian perspective, with Christian characters doing things right. And so that actually blew up faster and got better faster than a lot of other media, that like movies and stuff, because novels are kind of cheap to produce, because you just need the one person, right? You maybe,
You
if
just
you're
need
lucky,
that
you get an editor.
and a printer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just need somebody who could take a risk on the books. So that, which is why so many novels and get made into movies, built-in audience. But so many people can put a lot of stuff out that you can kind of see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this, I think you could argue, comes out of sort of that success. Is that now again? But again, once you have one successful person, you're going to get 1,000 people trying to fill that, come into that void, and they're trying to fill that. And there's been a big push recently, again over the last 20 years, towards homesteading in general. So Amish stuff does tend to come up a lot, I've noticed. Sort of this romanticization of a pastoral life, right? Living off the land and all that. But again, but that was in modern. But heck, we have that in modern, secular culture as well.
Yeah, Twilight, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay. So speaking of that, we're going to take a deep dive now, Jason, because you've talked about how Christianity has been a little bit represented in a lot of aspects of our pop culture, but very much so in the world of video games. Now, Christianity, while it's not the most prominent thing in the video gaming world, it has left its footprints, and there are
in
some
the
games,
sand, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, there were some games that were definitely like, making fun of Christianity or pointing out a lot of its negative stereotypes. But then there are others, like some of the ones that I'm going to show you, that were made by Christians and for Christians. And so let me show you the first one here. And I want you to tell me what you think. The first one is going to be our oldest.
Okay.
This one was made, man, in the 80s when the NES was big.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Ready? This is called Bible Games. This was like off license. Like this was for the Nintendo Entertainment System, but
right.
Nintendo did, there wasn't even like licensed by Nintendo. They just kind of made it.
It was just compatible with the NES.
Okay, good. Do you ever worry that they're playing too much Nintendo?
Oh, not anymore. See, Matt has Bible adventures. They're actually learning Bible stories while they're playing Nintendo.
Quick, get that Bible quote before you run out of power.
Bible Adventures features 3 games in 1 cartridge: Noah's Ark, Save Baby Moses, and David and Goliath. A must for every family with Nintendo. Call 1-877-BIBLE. That's 1-877-BIBLE.
Wow.
$44.95 back in the early 80s. That was a lot of money.
That was a lot of cash. Yeah, it's really. I'm more shocked at how expensive it was. Well, how much was the Super Mario?
It was about $50.
Yeah.
But in like 86, that's like a lot of money, man.
That's a ton of cash.
Yeah.
Because that's a funny. Okay. Because we've never stayed on topic. As expensive as we think things are now, please understand, when you calculate for inflation, it's way cheaper.
Right.
way cheaper. Um,
I remember the first 386 computer my family ever got was like for $2,400
yes.
in like 89, 90.
hmm
Dude,
Yeah.
that's
Uh-huh.
almost as much as a car nowadays.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm trying to figure out how you're supposed to save baby Moses if the entire point
Well, I
was-
saw the way the games play. It's like
Yeah.
it's like dinky platforming. It's really got nothing to do with. It's just
Yeah.
you play as Moses and you like hop around platforming, and it's basically like a budget version of Super Mario Brothers or whatever.
right.
But then in between little these levels, they have little trivia questions, and that's literally it. That's
Yeah.
literally it.
That's really all it could be. I mean, let's be honest. That's really all it could be at that time. But yeah, that's okay. We can talk about my view on why I hate that kind of stuff, but that's
Why?
a different thing. So yeah, why
So
do
what
I
do you
hate
think?
it? Again, sort of the same idea, right? It's
Okay.
the problem is these are people who aren't versed in the art form, no pun intended with the verse crack there. But they are well intentioned, and so the problem is it comes off as cheesy. Because again, particularly when you have that level of video game, like there's just not much you can do, like you said, right? It's like anytime somebody tries to make something historic, and teach people
Mhm.
history or whatever, it's really hard to do that kind of thing well and get the details that you're trying to convey, right? And particularly through a video game at that level. But it's really, really difficult, which is why something like Oregon Trail works so well.
I love me
Right.
Oregon Trail. Yeah.
It works so well because it wasn't trying to convey large thematic historical points. It was just saying, hey, here is a slice of life from this time frame, right? That's really what it's trying to do. It's giving you that perspective. I'm going to fix the thing so we can, there we go, get the right background there. And so that's why I hate stuff like this, where it's like, we're going to tell this story, but we can't actually tell the story. So we're going to have you do this other thing over here, right? It's one of those things that's really, really hard to do well, but it's a first attempt, right? And I understand. Hey, it's not like the video game industry got everything right. We have, E.T. the video game nearly destroyed the entire video game
It
industry.
nearly did. It nearly did.
So yeah, it's like,
Okay, let me
first
show you.
outing. First outing.
Let me show you a more modern take,
Mhm.
a more modern Christian video game made by Christian and for Christians. And I'm not gonna lie, man, it's looking kind of good. All right, ready?
Okay.
My magnificent ultimate time machine is ready. Let's travel back in time and solve Grandma's mystery.
Go on an epic journey.
To solve.
See, I like this concept because time machine. Go back to ancient Israel,
All right.
right? If you had a
I hate-
time machine,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I'd do it.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Concept's kind of cool, kind of solid so far.
Yeah.
We-
I'm
yeah.
I'm here for it.
To the early years of Jesus' life to figure out these riddles.
Are you looking for someone?
Yes, young man, we are looking for a son.
It's like an
This is-
open world game.
And
Yeah,
here-
that's what I was about to say.
Oh, they
Yeah.
Would you be able to help me?
they actually said Yeshua. They did
Yeah.
their homework.
Well, okay, so hold on, real quick. Okay. We've never stayed on topic, and I've been gone for a couple months. They would not have called him Yeshua; it would have been Yisu, because they spoke Aramaic,
Yeah.
not Hebrew. There is
Oh,
a
Yeshua is the Hebrew.
Yeah. Well, so the full Hebrew is Yahashua.
Yeah.
It gets shortened in later Hebrew to Yeshua, so that is true.
Yeah.
However, by the time we get to full-blown Aramaic, it was something more like Yesu.
Oh wow,
Which
that's funny. That's the Korean pronunciation.
Which is, well, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is why Greek, right? Everyone's like, well, why is it Jesus? It does not mean Hail Zeus or Hail Zeus. Anyone who says that is an idiot and should be ignored entirely. They don't have the brain space needed to play Super Mario Brothers in the first place.
Yeah.
The reason the Greek transliteration was what they were doing is they were transliterating from Yesu, because the Greek, that's the transliteration was Jesus, because it's Yesu in Aramaic. That's Joshua. So the problem is everyone's like, I want to use Yeshua. That's fine. I don't care. But everyone's like, well, I'm going to be. It's like, no, you're not. You're picking an earlier form of the Hebrew language. He may have. I mean, he absolutely knew his name was Yeshua in like later Hebrew. He would have known the proper fuller version was Yahashua in traditional Hebrew. But he spoke Aramaic. He would have understood that his name was Yesu. Anyway, continue.
Oh, that is exactly how it's pronounced in Korean. Like exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's where.
Yeah.
So again, interesting point. Most things most proper nouns are extracted from the culture from which they come from.
Mhm.
The reason we call tea in English, and by the way, a lot of other cultures as well, but India calls it like chai,
Chai.
but again, a lot of other cultures like Middle Eastern, they all have some version of chai or cha, is because tea comes out of China originally. And there were 2 points of distribution. There was the northern and the southern. The southern distribution point is, essentially is how the West got it by sailing, right?
Mhm.
That was te, which becomes tea in our language. But India got it from the northern parts of China, in which they called it cha, which is why they call it chai.
Right.
And the Middle East, again, came over by land. It's some version of cha. And if you got it by sea, through the Western expansion, so lots of Africa, and of course Europe, you call it tea because it came by boat. So, so for Korean, they would have gone back and said, okay, well, it's Yesu in Greek or Jesus in Greek, but that's the Greek pronunciation. Aramaic would have been Yesu. So
the Korean word for tea is cha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, Korea's here. China,
the Japanese word for tea is. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, look that up. But yeah, you would have, because again, y'all would have got, the Koreans would have gotten it from the northern China, distribution. So yeah, you would have called it cha.
Oh wow, in Japanese it's called ocha.
There you
go. There you go. Anyway, back
to
the
game. Yeah, back to the game. So yeah, it looks like an open world.
Yeah, did they have horses back then? By the way, this guy's
Yes.
running around on a horse. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they had. We've had horses.
Okay,
like
just making sure
the entire time. Everyone had horses.
Would you be able to help me? I left the gate open for just 1 second.
Let's catch some lambs.
He's helping this. He's doing like side quests and
That's
shit.
what I'm saying. It's all side.
Yeah.
This is.
What was that? People of Jerusalem, what do you want me to do with this man you say is king of the Jews?
Now, we just played this clip, right?
Yep.
I want to point your attention here. I'm going to read some of these comments. Ready?
All right.
Okay. This one person wrote, as an avid gamer and fellow Christian, I will do my duty and play this video game to support you guys. Another person says, I've been getting back into reading the Bible and hungry for an experience like this. Someone actually looks like they are taking it seriously rather than making a mockery of it. Love to see it, and best of luck. Will definitely purchase. Oh, how about this one? I was sold the moment I heard the name Yeshua instead of Jesus. That immediately told me that the developers did their research and have a passion for history, as well as the gospel story.
Yep.
Oh, and then this one. I started crying when I saw the trailer. Sometimes it's hard for me to imagine scenes in the Bible as they're written, but I was absolutely blown away by the lighting and the environment of Israel in the trailer. I mean, it just looked like, it didn't look bad, but it just looked like Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah.
I mean, graphics wise, seeing the crowds, the buildings, and the possibility of seeing the stories in the word translated into video game format, the idea of it all has me blown. Wait, hold on. has me blown away. I've never seen a Bible game like this before. When I think of Bible games, I think of something for kids, something to help them understand the Bible and what it's saying. But this is something different, and I'm hyped for it. Yo, this dude hyped.
He's hyped.
God bless the team working on this. I'm ecstatic to see where this game is taken. So, what are your thoughts? Would you share the same excitement about this video game?
I don't know that I'd share the same excitement, but it's definitely, you know,
It doesn't look like the
It
other
doesn't
one
look
looked
bad.
terrible, but this
Yeah.
one doesn't look terrible.
Well, again, what it comes back to is we've reached a point where you can tell different stories. Like, again, when you have a platformer, there's only so much you can do with that platformer, right? So it isn't necessarily something that you can, you have limited story options. But now with open world environments, you can tell any story you want. I mean, heck, the Star Trek Online game, right, that they put out, that's all that is. They're all just side quests, right? That's really all it is. Every engagement is like, well, here's a furtherance of the Star Trek story, and so you can just go tell a bunch of random stories. And so they're taking that technology and saying, well, let's just do the same thing. Because for a lot, and again, I can understand the thinking of, we don't understand the culture. So when we read things, we're unfortunately we're reading it through a modern lens. So I can see them wanting to do things that feel more authentic and gives you an idea of what they were dealing with. What did things actually look like? How were they interacting with things? Again, its accuracy is to be debated, but that's, as any human endeavor is, it's inherently flawed. But the idea behind it makes sense. Like, I can see what they're, instead of saying, hey, I hated the language at the beginning, my ultimate time machine's like, okay, whatever. But
What happened to your first time machine?
What happened to the first one? But yeah, so the idea of going back and sort of observing the culture and the events makes, that we have the technology where that could be a valid story. And clearly they played Ocarina of Time, is all I'm saying.
And Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for the next one?
I'm good.
So far I've shown you games that were made by Christians and for Christians, and it's just Christian related themes and topics. But how many games do you actually get to play as Christ himself?
Can't imagine there's many.
And this game is not only do you play as Christ, but it's from the first person perspective.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I don't know that I can be more ready for this.
Okay.
Many people have attempted to write about the things that have taken place.
Yo, you
among
Jesus,
us.
yo.
Reports of these things were handed down to us. There were people
This is also
who
like
saw these things
open
for
world,
themselves
but you're also
from the
like
beginning.
doing the actual
They saw
ministry and
them and then
miracles.
passed the word on.
Oh, he's doing miracles right now.
With this in mind, I myself have carefully looked into everything from the beginning.
I'm Simon. This is my brother, Andrew. We're trying to catch fish.
Oh, damn, he catching that fish.
I'm afraid the wedding appears to have a small issue. I don't know, but I thought you might be able to help.
Yeah, turn that water into wine.
This wine is better than the wine we had before.
Oh, damn. He is risen.
Please, Lord, just heal my son.
He's like actually inside his body and healing him.
Lord,
like apparently,
it's
like the
you.
spirit of Jesus shrunk down and he went inside the kid's
Tell me to
body.
come to you
And you
on
got to
the wall.
repair the kid's body. Oh, damn, Last Supper. And there's like dialogue options.
I am doing this for you. I want you to know that the things you have been taught are true.
Yeah, out on Steam, baby. So, Jason, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this game?
No. Just no.
Why? It's
Just
you know,
no.
it's Bible accurate. I mean, those
Just-
things, you know, water to wine, walking on water.
no. So
Last
why? Why? How many? Why?
You wouldn't play this
What-
game?
No. You have been waiting all day for this one, haven't you? Because I saw the look on your face at the beginning of the episode. I'm like, I know he's going to drop something on me, and I figured I knew what the swerve was going to be. I figured you're going to throw Diablo or Doom at me
No,
as a
what?
Christian game, and it's like, I'm fully prepared for that swerve, and then you drop that on me. No.
Dude, you got to read some of these comments. They're epic, man.
Okay,
They're epic.
present some of the epics.
Okay.
Present them. No.
What are the theological implications of Jesus speedruns? Hopefully, no one spoils the ending. Okay.
Oh.
If the screen on the third day doesn't say start new game plus, I'm uninstalling. My family has been passing down the strategy guide for this game for generations now. Oh, okay, dude, Jason.
Yes.
It gets better. Okay, hold on. It gets better.
Mhm.
I gotta show. Okay, so you get an idea of what this game is, right? It's a first-person game,
Yeah.
adventure game,
Mhm.
playing from Jesus' point of view, and you're basically acting out like, you know, the events of the Bible.
Yeah.
I want you to speculate now. What do you think is going to be the climactic, I don't know, final scene or final part of the game? What would you guess?
Well, since we saw again him rolling the stone away, that can't be it. It can't be the crucifixion. Is it going to be him fighting Satan?
You called it, baby. You called it, and I'm going to show you the final boss fight of this video game. You ready?
Okay, I'm prepared. I'm as prepared as I can get.
Okay, here's the final boss fight. So, you know, Jesus has been crucified now. They say in the Apostles' Creed, he goes, you know, he descends into hell, rises after the third day. But when he's descended into hell, what does he do? Apparently, Jesus was too busy whooping that ass, whooping that Satan ass. So he's in hell right now. He's fighting Satan. See that ball of light? That's Satan. And he's like shooting fireballs and shit.
Did Jesus just take damage?
Repelling Satan's blast. So he's healing though. Okay, so do you see that little circle in the bottom right corner?
Uh-huh.
So that's his Holy Spirit, right? So in this game, Holy Spirit is like your mana. So you have to like charge up your Holy Spirit to do abilities like shoot fireballs or heal. So if you're out of Holy Spirit, you know, you're kind of out of resources. That's like your main resource in this game. So the idea is you kind of have to manage your Holy Spirit. So then you got to build it up, and then he's able to fight back. It's like Final Fantasy, man.
Why?
See, oh wait, did you see that? It says he's out of Holy Spirit, so he's got to kind of like run around and dodge. So yeah, he's like healing and just shooting back. Damn, that Satan dude's not letting up, is he? Oh, he's out of Holy Spirit. Oh no, what's he gonna do? There's a run button because you know Jesus, he's got wheels. He can run real fast. Oh yeah. Oh, he's doing. Oh man, don't worry. He can heal.
Okay.
All right.
How?
So what do you think? You got to keep that Holy Spirit up, baby, so you can do them fireballs and get them hit points back.
I really hope, for the sake of everyone involved, that it was atheists who created this, because if it's Christians, I imagine they're going to get a really, really long talking to.
No, I mean, no. From what I can gather, this was done by Christians. Like serious. They were like serious about this game.
Why? There's no.
Well, you don't think this game actually looks kind of fun though? You wouldn't try it?
No.
It's out on Steam.
No.
You can download it right now if you want.
No. I've even played video games I wanted to play. Because I'm busy. Why? Why would you do this? What? Not you. Why would they do this? Let's forget. I mean, I can't forget the fact that this is sort of the whole blasphemy of being first person Jesus. Like, how many people did this go through? And they all said,
this is a good idea.
This is a good idea. What? Like, just the theology alone is terrible.
Okay.
But putting the theology aside.
Okay, Jason, let's say you're in the pitch meeting right now, okay? Pitch meeting.
Yes.
And then they ask you, hey, Jason McLean, what do you think about the idea of this game? What are you going to say to the people in the pitch meeting?
Oh, there's just one word, and then a lot of baseball bat being beaten about people's head. I would go full Negan on that production team. That is, really? I have no word as for how bad that looks and how bad that is and how much that hurt. Like, I knew there was gonna be some pain with this.
You almost wish they were non-Christians making fun of Christianity?
Yes, I do. Like I said, I really hope that's what it is, because I'm certain God would be like, all right, you're just being jerks. That's fine. You're going to hell anyway. It's fine. But that just, the idea that they're actually Christians and they thought that was a good idea hurts. So, you know how much it hurts? Have you ever heard that from like the late 80s, early 90s, the Christian rap?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Where it's Jesus Christ is my N-word with the and it's the GA, not the hard R. Have you heard that?
Can I find it? Do you think we could play it?
No, don't play it. Don't play it. It's that this is that level of bad. You had to have come across it on the internet. It is a social media favorite and will not leave. But it's a bunch of old people trying to do this rap, and they literally say Jesus Christ is my N-word but they go with the A instead of the hard R.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's a chorus. They say it a lot.
And it's like old people?
Old white people.
Damn,
yes.
I need to go back and watch this.
Like, it is that white lady singing that ninja song. It's worse than that.
Yeah.
It is physically painful to listen to, because they're trying so hard to be. It's like, I want to get across to the kids. I want to speak their language, and it's just so bad. This game is that level of pain in my soul.
What about the parts where he was doing the miracles, though? I mean, that was kind of the part where he shrinks down and goes into the kid's body and heals him. That part was a little ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie.
The healing, the magic hand. Okay, so there is this figure, this little figurine.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an action figure. It was a Jesus Christ action figure, but like they couldn't figure out how to make him walk, because it had to be hard plastic. So he had wheels, and his hands were glow in the dark because they were healing hand. They were miracle healing hands. So his hands were that green glow in the dark substance. It's this level of just cringe. It's not just that it's cringe, yes, obviously, but it's not just that it's cringe. It's blasphemous cringe.
And the fact that they tried.
And it's like they tried. Like, this is. It's like you want to look. It's like, this is seriously, this is the best you can do. Like, this was Like a lot of people were involved in this, and everyone looked and said, "Yeah, we'll go with this." It's just, and you look at him, you're like, I know you tried. I know your heart was in the right place, but I question everything else about your life choices.
Let me give you an opposite example, okay? Now, here's the next game. Now, admittedly, this one was not made by Christians.
Okay.
But I think this game does much more service to actually glorify Jesus than the last game.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
I am prepared.
Hold on. I muted the tab. All right, there we go. The gods are at war. Oh shit, it's Buddha.
But which one?
The Asian-y one. Oh shit,
They're all
he's the jacked one. Well, who will lead us to enlightenment, Jason McLean? Is it going to be Buddha or Odin or Zeus, Sif, Anubis? Or, oh shit, he's risen. He's risen. Oh, one final challenger.
They are not seriously.
Son of God. Bam. Yo, he's whooping Buddha's ass. Look at that.
Well, he should.
And he's crossed. That's a super move, by the way. It's called the Rapture. So it's like you play as Jesus, but it's like a Street Fighter game where you can play as all the different gods, like Odin and Buddha and Moses.
Of course, Moses is
and
a
then
god, but I'll let it slide.
And then Jesus is one of the characters. And yeah, what do you think?
At least it's a these have to be non-Christians doing this. I will at least let that slide because there is a clear tongue-in-cheek thing that they're doing. So I will let them. So I'm going to let it slide only because they're probably going to hell anyway. So it's okay.
Well,
You're right. It is at least not as bad. It's still bad. It's still bad from, again, theological perspective, but I feel like this is more tongue-in-cheek. So I'm going to be like, look, I ain't going to condone it. I will not. I don't like that you're doing it, but I feel far less cringe about it than the previous one.
I mean, you get the general premise of it, right? It's a Street Fighter type game. Yes. All the different gods from all the different pantheons mythologies. Yeah. You got Odin and Zeus in there, Amaterasu and Anubis and Sif and everyone, Thor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually think it's kind of cool that they included Jesus in there and that he gets to beat their asses.
So here's where I'll throw it in there. You know who's not in there? I don't see Muhammad in there. You threw Moses in there. Do Muhammad, bitches, and they won't because they know what's gonna happen.
Right.
So kiss my white ass, straight up.
Now I want to show you.
If you want to, if you're like, well, I want to do it with Jesus, fine. Put Muhammad in it first.
Include Muhammad,
then we'll talk.
Right?
Yeah. Until you throw Muhammad in
Cowards.
there, you're a coward. That's what you are. You're a coward.
I totally agree. They should have. You know what they should have done? They should have done like just to make it hilarious. They should have made Muhammad, but made him like the Invisible Man.
Like he's invisible. Yeah. Or just a censored. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Let me show you some of Jesus's combat capabilities. And as a fan of fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken, I can appreciate this. Okay.
Okay.
This is like his combo video, like Jesus combos.
Drinking. Yes, continue.
Hold on. I forgot to share screen because I'm a moron.
Well, that was never down, Donald.
I'm back for the.
That's his punishment fist. So, like, when he does the cross move, it like launches the guy, right?
Yeah.
But that's really good because like it hits both sides. He's got one of the. Okay, can we just say that projectile is fucking sick? That holy light he does, the column of light. Number one, it tracks, right? So no matter where you are on the screen, it's going to hit you, right? If the other guy throws a projectile at you, like a Hadouken in Street Fighter, in Street Fighter, the projectiles cancel each other out.
Yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
doesn't have that problem because this holy light comes from like underneath the opponent, launches the guy into the air for more combo opportunities.
Yep.
That's freaking crazy, man. They made him like really good in this game.
Which I can appreciate. I'm just
See? And he's got a Shoryuken. He's got a launcher. Dude, having a projectile that leads into a launch combo in a fighting game is just freaking ridiculous.
So I appreciate that he's OP. I can appreciate that.
Yo, he does like mad damage. He's like one of the best characters in the game.
I'm trying to figure out, is that supposed to be
That's Moses.
Well, I know that's Moses. I mean, that was pretty obvious. And I know that's Eve in the background. I'm trying to figure out, but like, what's the light? Is that supposed to be like the tree of there's water coming out?
Oh, this is a super
tree
move.
of life?
That's called the Rapture. I would say his super move is not the best in the game. Okay, so like, I've actually watched for research purposes. I've actually watched like a tournament for this game.
They have tournaments for this?
Yeah, and the guy who won it actually was a Jesus player. Dude, Jesus is ridiculous in this game, okay? But like the one, I guess, disadvantage he's got is like his normal moves have like lower range than someone like Odin.
Yep.
Like Amaterasu's got like this Naginata like pole arm that kind of goes across the screen when you press like a button.
Gotcha.
Jesus is like, he's just got like, just stubby limbs. So he's got to get pretty close. But
yeah,
dude, he can convert off of a single jab 70% damage.
Okay.
If that's not
Again,
glorifying Christ, I don't know what is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's like, as long as he's OP, okay. Like I said, that goes in the positive box. You're still going to hell, but it's still a positive. Like, it's like, maybe you don't go all the way down. It's like, you know what? Okay, you know what? We'll give you a little cushioning on that one, but it's still like, it still makes it less bad than magic hands, glowing hands. It's just so bad. It still hurts. But like you said, at least non-Christians are doing it. It's like, you know what? You made him OP. I'll give it to you. Good for you. Good for you.
They made him really good in that game.
Yeah, I'll give him credit for that. All right. Again, I still until you put Muhammad in there, you're still pussies.
Yeah, they are pusses. They are pusses. Yeah.
Call me when you get Muhammad in there, and let's see how that works.
Yeah.
Now, that having been said, you made him OP. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it.
And they recently added Santa Claus, so now you could have Jesus fighting Santa Claus. You could play as Moses.
So bad. There's so much wrong with that one. Of course, him fighting Moses is also a problem, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for Christian video games. Jason McLean, do you have any final words on Christian video games or Christianity, how it's represented in video, or any final thoughts on the games that we've reviewed today?
It just hurts so much.
What? All of them?
All of it. Well, okay, except for the second one, that was sort of like an open world kind of thing. I'm like, okay, it's Ocarina of Time for Christianity. I can live with it. No problem there. I get that. The one after that, just no. But yet, like that, it just hurts. That one just hurts so. It still hurts. It hurts so much. I'm really profoundly hurt by that one.
Especially because they were actually serious about it.
Because they were serious about, like, that is the thing. Like, I am letting the last one off the hook a little bit because I'm like, look, you know what? That's between you and God. You made Jesus OP. I can appreciate that. But you're like, it's tongue in cheek, and clearly you're not taking, like, okay, you know what? I'm going to stay back here, but that's less bad. They were serious about it.
They were serious about it.
That's so bad.
I want to know
so
whose
bad.
decision it was to use Holy Spirit as mana points.
It's
I need to
mana
know whose
points.
decision. Yeah.
Mana points. Like, you could lose a fight with, like, it's so bad.
Oh, Jesus, you're out of Holy
So
Spirit?
bad.
Oh, too bad. You lost the fight.
Just so bad.
Yeah.
Why would you do this? All right, you better hit it because we're about to hit that hour mark, which is going to
All right.
No,
So,
we're
yep.
done.
Peace out,
Oh.
folks. Later.
You're gonna have to download this and upload